Hey, what is up, guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. We have a breaking situation, I guess you would call it, and some new footage that I want to show you guys today. But before we get started, I'm sure many of you have been watching the inauguration of President Trump today. And as I was watching it, actually during the concert portion, before the parade, and we see Trump sitting behind the glass here watching the concert, I took notice of something kind of strange, and I didn't think any more of it. But as I was just going through my emails, I was amazed at all of the emails and messages that I was getting that were wanting me to check out this same specific strange thing that I had personally seen while I was watching the concert. And that is this weird-looking, I'm guessing, Secret Service agent that can be seen here in this photograph sitting behind President Trump along with his wife. Just look at this guy. Look at the blank stare. You know, his eerie sort of half-smile gaze, just looking directly into the back of Trump's head. You know, of course I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying this guy is some shape-shifting reptilian. But I just thought it was kind of funny that I had noticed this guy along with my wife when we were watching the concert, and I said, look at this dude. Look how weird he looks. Look at his face. Look at his bone structure. And, you know, it's just one of those things where you're like, okay, that's an odd-looking man. And then today, receiving all of these emails saying, Tyler, look at the agent behind Mr. Trump here, sending me the exact same picture. And so I said, well, I'll post this. You know what this kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of that photograph. I think it was taken during a press conference or possibly the inauguration of President Obama, where there was a similar photograph that showed what literally did look like some sort of alien man. Again, another Secret Service agent. It was spotted at the APAC conference. And you're seeing that image here, where we see this bald, again, alien-looking man walking in the background. Look at the facial and the bone structures to this guy here. I mean, it really is creepy. And so that was big news when that hit, and everyone was like, are aliens guarding the president? Of course, it's likely nothing, but that picture to this day still creeps me out. So now on to this new event, I guess you could call it, that has just been reported to have happened in Iran. Now, there's not much information on this, but we have some photographs and some video footage that were submitted to MUFON, along with some other online UFO reporting databases, purporting to show the Iranian military firing anti-aircraft guns at an unknown object that was seen maneuvering and hovering high above them in the skies over Tehran. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of separate clips here. And the first clip you're going to see is what shows the best view of this UFO, which looks sort of like a white reflective orb of some sort. You will also see the anti-aircraft gun being fired, as well as some of the military men pointing up at this thing, and what looks to be, trying to figure out what this thing was. And then you will see one last shot where the UFO is a little bit harder to see, but we will slow it down and zoom it in, where you'll actually see this thing moving through the sky, and you'll see these anti-aircraft shells flying past it, and then exploding in midair. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and play each clip one after the other, and then we'll go ahead and break it down here in a second.
Una un giorno come mi vedo mettere ki. Ama با این مسلسل بزرگ
Alright, so this was emailed to me, and the footage was submitted again to some online reporting databases. Now, the only details that were written about this was that it was captured and recorded in the Tehran province of Iran. This happened on the 16th, and the only summary here that I can find says, and I quote, "An orb object in Tehran city sky was fired on by air defense military." So, as you just saw in this footage here, this first view we have is of the object. It's a close-up view. We can see this thing just sort of hovering there for a few seconds, and then it starts maneuvering. It starts jetting over to the left and then moving quickly to the right. After which the footage cuts to a cameraman who is recording across a couple of these buildings where we see the anti-aircraft gun positioned on the roof of an adjacent building being fired at this UFO. As you're seeing here, they look completely dumbfounded as to what they're looking at. Then we go to this piece of footage here, which I am actually increasing the contrast and the color as best that I can so we can make out the UFO. And just to go ahead and point it out here, I'm circling the UFO here. It's this little white reflective light that's in the center of the screen. That is the object. And as we play this, you'll start to see hundreds of these other little white specks flying by, which are the anti-aircraft rounds. And what these rounds do is they explode in the sky in one large group. And that is how they down aircraft, enemy aircraft. But it would seem that they are not able to hit this thing because these rounds are definitely missing the mark, and the UFO is seen being recorded. The cameraman then pans back over to the anti-aircraft rounds that look to be exploding a couple of 100 feet away from the object. So we definitely have an unidentified object here. And it's obviously low enough in the sky not to be a drone. Because if you know about the United States surveillance drones, they fly at such a high altitude, you don't even know they're there. They are equipped with high-powered cameras with zoom lenses that allow them to fly miles high without being seen. And so what we have here is something much lower to the ground. And we actually have a photograph of the object that was also submitted along with the video. You're seeing that photograph here. And we'll go ahead and zoom in here. So this looks to be the object or objects in question. We have two here. We have what looks like a white object, and then we have a darker, more reflective object. Now, I'm not sure if the UFO is actually the darker object, and this white thing here is actually an anti-aircraft shell exploding near it, or if this is part of the actual UFO. But it's definitely strange, and with this view, we can see obviously that, there's no drone that is comprised of two parts like this. Obviously not an aircraft of any kind. We see no wings. Does not look like a helicopter or anything like that. And obviously they are firing on this thing. They have no idea what it is. So again, this is a breaking story. I'm trying to dig up some more information. If we have any viewers out of Iran, please be sure to send me an email, because this is very, very interesting, and I'd like to figure out what is going on, what the object was, and just like to know more about it. So I want to go ahead and talk about some other UFO footage that we have received. Here is a piece that was recently emailed to me out of Colorado. So check this out.
At the plane flying right there. That's like the triangle right there. Yeah. It's so weird. And then there's two up here that are leading them. Yeah. I don't know if you can see them. But it's so weird. They're just like flying in a circle in a triangle. Either that or that's like a giant spaceship. I don't know. That's so cool. Tip still right there. Fourth one, some got stuck behind the trees or disappeared. I don't know.
All right, so this was emailed to me by a woman named Desiree. Said that her and a friend were outside and looked up and saw what looked to them like a big flying triangle that was also being surrounded by what looked like airplanes or helicopters that were flying around it, which is plain to see. We actually do see what looks like an aircraft flying by this thing, and we have another formation of these lights in the sky. Certainly nothing new. We've been seeing these everywhere. In fact, they've been ramping up. These formations, usually in the form of triangles or just two lights. Often we'll get two single lights that seem to maneuver together and fly in unison. But the triangular formation we've also seen many times before, most notably during the 1997 Phoenix Lights incident. And so there's a question of whether these belong to one large craft or if these are separate crafts altogether. Anybody over Colorado who saw this and has any more footage or information, definitely please send me an email. Now, before we end today's video, I wanted to feature another discovery that's been hitting the news recently, and that is of what appears to be some sort of circular structure that has been found sitting underneath the waters surrounding the North Pole, and is being called a base of some sort. The UFO, as we'll call it, which you're seeing here, and I'll put the coordinates down below, is seen just sitting below the surface of a small body of water located in the North Polar region, which I agree looks, very strange. It looks like a perfect disc of some sort. It almost has a metallic feel to it. The perfect circular nature of it is kind of what stood out to me. We measured this thing, and it came out to have a length or a diameter of around 40 meters, and would appear just to be sitting, just below what could possibly be a shallow portion of water that's near the ocean. Could be something that has landed there momentarily. Could be a sheet of ice. Who knows, but I wanted to feature it. It's been hitting the web the past couple of days, especially with all these strange things that we've been finding at the South Pole, with the pyramids, with the fort-looking structures, some other strange things that we found. Whether it be the North or the South Pole, I think there's a lot of mystery surrounding both of them, and if you follow my channel, you'll know what I'm talking about. And so you guys can go and check this out for yourselves. The coordinates are down below. What do you guys think this is? You can see it's located in this, what looks like a heart-shaped portion of ice that has melted, exposing the water beneath it. And, I don't see where this circular object could have come from. Again, the perfect size and smoothness of it, I guess, is what stuck out to me. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. So a lot of interesting things happening. Let me know what you guys think about this footage coming out of Iran. If you have your own UFO footage or pics, do not hesitate to email them over to me. My contact email is down in the video description. Send your footage over, and I promise I will get to it and review it. So thank you guys for stopping by today. Be sure to share and subscribe if you'd like to learn more about this topic, and I will see you guys back in just a bit.